been saying for some time that I'm going to start a series on prayer, different ways of praying, different forms of prayer. And we have finished celebrating the Contemplative Communion this morning, and it occurred to me that now was the time to start. One of the reasons is that at Contemplative Communion we light incense. And someone asked me one time, when I bless the incense and begin to pray, I take some of the smoke to my forehead, to my mouth, to my heart, and then offer it to heaven. And they said, why did I do that? Well, it's what the prayer I'm going to do today is body prayer, and it's the prayer of St Julian. And for St Julian, it was opening our hearts, our minds, our bodies to God. And the incense is cleansing, and what I do, I adapted from the Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia and in their rituals when they cleanse before their kind of journey in connecting with God in prayer. And it is about clear my mind, cleanse my lips, my speaking, silence me, cleanse my heart, and I offer myself to God as an open vessel, open body, open heart, open mind, open to God's message. So I thought I would start our series on prayer with St Julian's body prayer. And you may have seen me do this before. I remember doing it when we were live in the Music Room Chapel earlier on during lockdown. It's very simple. Just gives us space to connect with God. One of Julian's quotes is, "The fruit and purpose of prayer is to be one with and like God in all things." So we're opening the space for prayer, opening our hearts, our bodies, our minds. There is a question mark over where this prayer actually comes from. Some say it was devised by Julian herself when she was in her cell in the 14th century. Others say that it comes from the Order of St Julian, and there is an Order of St Julian in Wisconsin, and they started in 1985 as a monastic community in contemplative prayer. Though there's no right way to do this, the 4 simple steps are very memorable. They're easy to remember, and the time it takes is rather like our time in contemplative prayer on a Saturday morning. It really is. If we are open, we will be beyond time. So it's a really good thing to do if we're having trouble quieting our mind. It's a good thing to do if we feel we need to stop and collect ourselves in the middle of a busy day, in the middle of a time of depression, anxiety. Prayer always helps in all these circumstances. So we stand or sit, depending on our abilities, or where we are. And we first of all await. We await God's presence. That feeling of God being here with us. Of course, God is always here with us. But allowing ourselves to await until we feel we are in God's presence, present to God. And then we allow. We open our body, our mind, our heart to allow God in, going even deeper into our presence with God. Allowing ourselves, as Julian said, to be one with God in all things, for all things. And as we allow, with open heart, open body, open mind, we are a pure slate for God to write on. We're open to hear God's call for us in this moment, in our life. And however God speaks to us, we then, in our open hearts, accept God's call for us. God's message today, in this moment. And then we attend. Out in the world, we take God's call, God's message, and spread in the way that we feel best, that we feel that God has called us to do. So again, we prepare ourselves. We await until we have that feeling of not only God being present with us, but also of us being present with God. And then we allow, we open our hearts, our minds, and our bodies to God. We become purer, removing our ego from the equation, just listening. As we allow God's call for us in this moment in our lives to come into that openness. And with open heart we accept that message. We accept that call for this moment. And then we attend. Take what we have been told, what we have been called to, what we feel is the next step in our journey out into the world. Await, allow, accept.